new tonight.
There you go.
Oh, it's live now. I'm not even live. Welcome back to Iron United's YouTube channel. You are joining us for something a bit different, something just a bit out there. We know there's other different, social media sites, etc., trying some stuff new. We are trying Google Hangouts for the first time, so we're coming on and we're going to give you a little bit of transfer news, etc. We're all coming on just to have a general chit chat about West Ham's transfer policy, which is non-existent. We like people going out the door rather than coming in the door, and if they're coming in from maybe the pound shop, but we like to shop at we're selling to Selfridges, so maybe that. Yeah, basically, the loan store. So we're joined by Liam, Cess, Jack, Matt, Rich throughout the night up until the transfer deadline day. We will be joined with some different people, etc. And we're just going to have a general chit chat. Get the comments in below. Let us know what you think of the show. But straight over to you, Matt, because you've been extremely knowledgeable today. Hit us with some of the news, mate.
You mean the non-existent? Nothing's happening.
Yeah, well, keep us up to date.
It's been announced. It's been announced in the last half an hour that Dendonka's not happening, so everyone can get really depressed. There's not enough time for a medical apparently, which is utter bullshit. Like the board can bring me a new excuse. You can sign a player without a medical. We can have a medical tomorrow. If it fails it, you can cancel the deal. Like the rules are there in FIFA's, the documents you sign. So that's not happening. We're signing some bloke from Preston that no one fucking heard of before Sky Sports randomly announced it this afternoon that he went for a medical. He scored 18 goals in 84 games. I don't know how that's appetizing to West Ham. That's going to be next level signing. He scored 18 goals in 84 games in the Championships, 1 every 5. But he's better than Smolov in Russia, who we didn't pay enough money for. And he just said he didn't want the deal because the club weren't getting enough money for him. He thought the club were getting mugged off, so he told him to cancel the deal. Hugh Gill's coming in. Apparently he's a target man. He's only 5 foot tall. He's fucking shorter than an Arnautovic, but he's coming in as a target man. So that's interesting. I don't know how that one's going to work.
Well, Matt,
it gets worse.
Let's really discuss about it. At the end of the day, when you think about our transfer window in general, it's not been the greatest. We've been linked with every single. I don't know how many names have been on that list. I think we were talking about this recently. Like it's been non-stop.
We made a joke about 50 people, didn't we? And that was about 2 weeks ago.
And it's been more.
Yes. We've probably been
more than that.
80,
Probably more than that.
There's probably been like 80, 90 players we've had on our list.
Yeah, I honestly think it could be up to that level. It definitely could be up to that level, and it's rather embarrassing. But the thing is, what's even more embarrassing is the fact we're linked to all these players, and in actual fact, we've only brought one in on loan, as we know, loan to buy.
You mean two?
And now,
so just the loan, basically.
Yeah.
We bought a loan. It's the loan to buy. It's never going to be a buy because they're never going to pay 30 million.
It's literally a loan. It's simply a loan.
It's a loan.
And then what's even worse is they brought in a centre forward that wasn't even on the fucking list. Last night he was going to Leeds for £8 million.
Who was this guy?
Hugh Gill. Last night he was going to Leeds for £8 million. Hugh Gill? I don't pronounce his name, mate. Like, this is how bad it is. Like, I play FIFA. I play Football Manager. I've never heard of this guy. Like, I know he come on last week and we were talking about Delafeu and Ant was like, "How do you pronounce it?" And I was like, "Oh, Delafeu, yeah." Like this guy, I literally don't know how to pronounce his name, and he's English. Is it Hugh Gill? Like,
yeah,
that's how bad this transfer is. That I have no idea who he is. I had to start going on like fucking Google and look up his stats. Like, is this guy any good? Of course he's not, because we're buying him.
Wow.
Do you know what? At the end of the day, though,
just to finish it off, though, like Sacco scored for PSG last night.
Yeah.
Sacco come off the bench for Rennes and scored against PSG because he's injured and he can't play, and we're signing some fucking nobody from Preston.
Right.
Who Preston fans are happy they got £9 million for.
Yeah, and as much
that's the worst bit.
Matt, as much as I agree with you on that whole kind of, like, I'm disappointed that he's coming in. What I will say is we are West Ham fans and we are going to support any player that comes through the door.
Oh,
the point of the matter is Sacco has now left the club for what, £8 million-ish?
Yeah. Something like that, yeah.
So he's left for less than we've paid for this guy from Preston.
IU has left the club tonight, which for me, I'm just baffled about the whole thing. They're just, whatever, £18 million. And we're reinvesting £8 or £9 million and we can't really say he's proven in the Championship because he's absolutely not. And as you said, Matt, what quality are we bringing through the door? Now, the best way to look at this, and Rich, I mean, do you know what? I'll put it over to you, Rich. Rich, describe your opinion on the transfer situation for West Ham.
It's genuinely awful. That's the only way I can describe it. How can you sell Saka and Ayew and not replace them? I mean, what board allows that to happen? What club allows that to happen? It's literally pathetic. But honestly, why am I surprised? This rubbish happens year after year. We complain about transfers. Every now and then we'll get the likes of Payet in and Lanzini in and we'll all be happy about it. But generally, historically, we have been rubbish in the transfer market. And this is just another year of being completely useless. How you can get rid of Saka and Ayew and bring in some unknown from Preston it baffles me. Literally baffles me. They've made us weaker significantly, and now in the relegation scrap that we might find ourselves in, we haven't done ourselves any favours at all.
Cess, what are your thoughts?
It's like we've done it again, haven't we? It's like we've not learned our lesson. It seems like ever since we left the Boleyn and moved to London Stadium, I had all these false promises from the board that we're gonna be in a world-class stadium, get all these world-class players, get all these marquee signings. It's just beyond a joke. And it's like from the first time we should have learned from last season. But then in the summer we got rid of everyone, all the deadwood from last season, and we didn't really replace anyone, so it's made our squad depth completely thin. Then we had a bad start with Bilic, then Bilic got sacked, then we got Moyes in, which at first no one really wanted Moyes, to be honest. But as West Ham fans, we're going to accept him and let him do his job and let him revitalise his career. Then it's got to December. Things have sort of been all right. It's been up and down. And then now it's got to around January. And we've got hit with injuries. What's it, like 14, 15 players that are injured? At least? Yeah, and then now we're looking at, we've got rid of Sacco and Ayew. With Sacco, yeah, I've not been his biggest fan, but it's all sort of making sense in a way of, I think there's something going on behind the scenes, the way Sacco's been acting. But I just don't know anymore, really, because
it does start to add up a little bit, though. It's
starting to add up.
It does when you think of the Sacco situation. I've gone on so long about slagging him off, etc. And I'll throw this one to you, Jack. I mean, does he have some ammo? Like, does he have the right to moan? Has he had the right to moan about his whole situation at West Ham?
What, Sacco?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he has. Because Andy Carroll was getting paid more than him. Andy Carroll's played over 100 games and only scored 32 goals in his career for West Ham.
Since, 6 years or something, is it?
About 6 years, yeah. That's a fucking joke for a striker. I know he's been injured most of the time, but that is a joke.
That's an understatement, then.
Sacco scored more goals than him in less games.
Yeah.
And he earns less, and we sold him. Our best striker at the club.
I mean, what are you saying?
Sacco was the best striker at the club.
Yeah. I mean...
in stats, anyway. In stats.
Yeah, in terms of stats, of course he was. I think you can kind of question, I suppose, Oliver. I mean, I don't know. Sometimes I feel lost for words, which is reasonably stupid considering we're doing a live stream and we need to talk. But when it comes to our board's dealings in general, there's some videos going around on our strikers since the boards have come in, or just our signings in general. Like, I honestly think they think by bringing in just players, just like I don't know. I genuinely don't know. They've sold two or three. Well, hold on. Let's talk about Sacco's gone, Ayew's gone, Oxford's gone. We're already in a thin squad.
Yep.
Yeah.
We've taken some of the other youth players are going, and we're bringing in one unknown striker from the Championship and brought in a lone player who does look good, to be fair. And really, I feel like, again, they're relying on the players that we've got who are injured and having to wait for them to come back. Matt, go for it. Sorry, mate.
I was going to say, with Sacco, it's like we haven't learned. We're not bringing in better players. We talk about all these lies from the board, and like something's going to happen at some point. It's like I fully expect Sacco to do an interview in France at some point. Something's going to happen. Because they cannot sit there and say he's been injured the whole time and he came off the bench last night and scored. Yeah. But he literally transferred the day before. even if it's only on the bench, like, could we not have used him on the bench last night? When we had, no offense, because we're all for youth, but we had the only experienced player we had on that bench last night was Jose Font. The only sub we made was Reece Oxford for 4 minutes, and they sent him on loan to Dortmund. Or Dortmund, sorry, Mönchengladbach.
Yeah, Oxford didn't care.
He was the only sub we made yesterday. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, it's almost like after that, the whole shambles of, you know, whatever happened after the game on Saturday, we all made the fucking joke, look, forget who we bring in, we need bodies in. And it's almost like Gold and Sullivan heard that and went, oh, fuck it, yeah, we need bodies in. You know what? Oh, this guy from Preston's available. It's a body. We'll get him in.
Yeah.
Because there's no way you can tell me that they sat there and looked at him and went, he's a better prospect than Smolov, who scored 50 goals in 60 games.
Because they're tight cunts. That is what.
They didn't want to spend it because it's £3 million. It's 3 million quid. And to prove the point, no, but he's right. To prove the point, the whole reason the Smolov deal collapsed because he turned around to the club and said, "You're getting fucking mugged off. You're not getting the value for me. Cancel the deal."
We're still recovering from Jack's straight to the point comment.
If that doesn't, no, he's right. If that doesn't
tell you, wrong. He is not wrong.
He's not wrong. If that doesn't tell you, the fact that the player you're trying to buy has instructed his agent and his club to cancel the deal because they're not getting the value the player is worth. What does that tell you about Golden Sullivan's transfer dealings?
Yeah.
Surely we should have been all over Slimani. Surely we should have been all over that. How has he gone to Newcastle? How have you
hasn't.
He hasn't. He failed a medical in about half an hour ago.
Wow. No ways.
Yeah.
Basically, he went there for a medical and he's got a calf strain.
My word.
So he's out for like 2 weeks. So he's
okay, that's fine. That's fine then. Because I saw earlier that he was going to Newcastle and I just thought, surely if you get rid of Ayu, at least get someone like him.
Reece Burkus. Sorry guys, just quickly. Reece Burkus has just been confirmed and has rejoined Bolton on loan.
Yeah, we've got some comments by the way. Let's in the chat.
Do you want to go through them?
Paul Mills says, wonder if Hugill is Rand Sullivan's having height measuring contests. Then he also said, do you guys think Hugill was okay by Moyes? Then he said, Cullen and Burke are going back to Bolton, says reports. And then someone said, thanks for streaming at Deadline Day Mates, or Deadline Mates.
Did you say Cullen as well?
From what I heard, Cullen's not. From what I heard.
Yeah. So he's got that wrong.
I heard,
but that's another.
Burke's definitely going, but Cullen's not.
But that's another player out the door with all our injuries list. This is the biggest concern I've got.
And the thing is, as well, like I'm fully supporting you because wasn't Burke and Oxford were both on the bench last night?
Yeah, there was.
Yeah.
And we put out a bench that had 5 youth players on it, and we just sent 2 of them players out on loan.
Yeah. Apparently Martinez has gone out on loan.
So who is going to fill this bench against Brighton on Saturday? Like, who's going to be on this bench on Saturday?
And I can honestly say...
You couldn't try to script like this. You honestly couldn't try to script like this. Honestly, this is
because the thing is as well, is we're all saying about Hugill because it was reported unofficially about an hour and a half ago, 2 hours ago, but the deal was done.
Yeah.
And apparently he's wearing the number 12. But West Ham haven't announced it. West Ham haven't announced this. You know, the longer it goes on, the longer it's
or BBC Sport.
And the longer it goes on, the longer it's not actually officially announced, we could fucking not even end up with him.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there moaning about him, but look, anyone that puts effort into this club will all get behind. You know, we've had shit players up front before. Like everyone loved Colton Cole, and they loved him because he put the effort in.
Yeah, exactly.
He was never spectacular.
Also,
and if the guy puts the effort in, everyone will get behind him.
Yeah, that's true. Also, after watching
we're sitting here disappointed because the promises of we're going to bring this isn't even. I'm not even talking about next level players as in bringing a Champions League player. This is literally physically a step backwards.
Yeah.
You physically sold 2 players who have scored goals in the Premier League and bought in a guy that's only ever scored goals in the Championship. He's never played in the Premier League.
Man.
Yeah.
I was going to say the youth team is not good enough either, really.
Yeah.
After watching them.
Well, to be fair, Jack, like what I will say is for anyone that's watching, Jack does go and watch the under 23s quite a lot. So I feel like you have got quite a good judgment on them and fair play. Like you get to see them a lot more than what I have. So that's fine. what I will say in that comment, though, Jack, and I'll come back to you on that, is I've heard this a lot, right? But in other clubs, the way I look at a development squad is, do you want your development squad to be winning things every single game? Or is the whole point of a development squad to find that player who's got that ability, who can then progress into the best team and play around the most experienced players and be brought out into Shell? Now, I don't think that the board or West Ham or any other football club look at the development squad and think, I want them to win everything under the sun. It's nice when we hear it, but I don't know if that means that they're going to transfer. It means that they collectively as a unit can play other teams collectively as a unit in that league and do well. But you're talking about one or two players that you're really looking for, diamonds in that kind of youth development that we're trying to bring through. And for me, I think there are a couple.
Yeah, there's a couple, but that's about it. Under Terry Wesley, we've hardly brung through any good youngsters to the first team. Reece Oxford was the first, I think. And
I think I would. I'm not being funny. I wouldn't even count him. Like, I saw him against Shrewsbury. He was fucking awful.
Yeah.
Like, he did not want to be in that game. But
Jack,
I think Declan Rice is the only player we brought through.
But here's a point to you, though. Do you not feel like maybe all this stuff that's happening at the club is having an effect on the players? I mean, you think about this, right, and I'm bringing it back to Andre Ayew. And I suppose, Liam, I'll bring this point to you, mate. Andre Ayew was signed by West Ham, 18 months ago, was it?
Something like that, around that.
Yeah.
Ish, anyway. And we signed him for what was the record fee at the time.
20 million.
We have now sold him within 18 months. And probably because the board realised... I'm trying to get my point here. They've signed this player. They've made it a big deal. Guys, just for your reference, we've got Dan Lawless, all the way from West Ham Fan TV. Thanks, Dan, for coming on, mate. How you doing?
You all right, lads? How's it going?
Yeah, all right, Dan. How you doing?
How's it going, Seth? You all right, mate?
Yeah, it's all good, mate.
Dan, we're trying something new tonight, mate. We know there's other people on everywhere doing all loads of stuff. And we thought, why not? We'll just give it to some of the subscribers, etc. Go from there. So you've probably caught up in some of the news.
Yeah.
Or lack of news.
Yeah. I've just put a video up myself, mate. Fucking ridiculous, unbelievable.
Go for it. Give us your opinion, mate.
Well, mate. Well, I mean, are we all talking about the same thing? This Jordan Hugill, yeah?
Yeah.
This seems to be. I just see X has come out and said that's probably going to be our only signing, and it's mental. It's absolutely careless and irresponsible from the board to see the state our squad is in, the injuries we've got, the lack of depth, and we really needed a striker. We've only got one fit senior striker in Chicharito, right? Because Martinez, obviously, I still don't count him as a senior striker. He hasn't even scored any Premier League goals or any senior goals, I don't think, for us. So we've just got Chicharito. We've sold Sacco and we're selling Ayew. And their replacement, the striker they're bringing in, is this Hugill, who scored 18 goals in 87 games for Preston. I've got Preston fans on my videos laughing their asses off. And one of them described him as a shithouse. That's what they've said. And this is our deadline day signing. Unbelievable. I just don't know where their heads are. We've come close. I've seen all the... Yeah, mate, I'm so...
described him as a target man, but he's 6 foot. He's shorter than Outovich, and Sky Sports said he was a target man.
Wow. He's a better target man than Hernandez when we played him at that.
Dan, as you've obviously joined, one of the biggest things we were talking about was the amount of names we were linked with. How many have we actually been linked with? I mean, it's endless. Now, I know the clubs are going to have links, etc. But when it comes to the deadline day, you're talking about up 50 upwards players linked with us. We've now sold Andre Ayew. We've now sold Diafra Sacco. We've loaned out Reece Burke tonight. We've loaned out Reece Oxford earlier today. Yep. And now we're all bringing in. We've brought in a loan, and we're looking at bringing in this lad. I still can't even pronounce his name. I don't want to know his name. But listen, at the end of the day, I'll support him if he comes in. Yeah,
I'm saying
Hugill. Yeah, done that.
Have you got a bit of a rundown, Dan, of your kind of thoughts on the whole? I mean, you have given us a quick rundown there, but
yeah.
Where are we at? Where are we at as a club?
Mate, and this is the thing. It seems like every transfer window, right? We get to the point where this happens, right? Where we don't make all the signings we needed to make, and then every time we look, the next going to be the next window. That's when we're going to correct it. That's when we're going to sort it all out, right? So we go, all right, we'll see, we'll sort out and correct it, the mistakes on the next window. Next window comes, same thing. Now you watch, a lot of people are going to be going the summer, especially all the board and the board lovers. They're going to be saying in the summer, that's when they're saving the money for. That's what they said last January. We're going to save all the good signings for the summer, the big signings, spend the money, what did we, last summer, we brought in Joe Hart on loan, Zabaleta on a free, Chicharito for about 15 million, and Anatovic, which was the big record signing. And that was it, from saving ourselves from the summer. That's all we did. And this is just, it seems like they're just keeping us, stringing us along, basically, and until they get to that point where they can sell the club for a massive profit, mate.
I suppose there's a difference between dreaming and what's realistic. And I honestly, I think I've said this to a lot of the guys in our group, that I honestly believe it comes down to players knocking us back. I actually genuinely believe if the board did stump up the money for some of the players that have been mentioned, the players are actually turning around and going, why would I want to play for them? Why would I want to play for the guys that run that club? Because there's got to be something within that. Where you've got
Slimani and was it Kim Sung Young both rejected us.
That's the one, Kim Sung Young. That's the one.
Yeah.
He mugged us right off,
didn't
didn't
he?
he?
They're any better than us, didn't he? He was like, I don't think they're any better than Swansea. Why would I go play for them?
Yeah.
But
they
were bottom of the league. They were bottom of the league.
And he's mugged us right off.
But then there were players. There was that Fyodor Smolov and Dondeka Dendonka or whatever, right? they both, whatever his bloody name, he's not going to play for us now, so it don't matter. But they both wanted to come to West Ham. These were players within our grasp, but we just weren't stumping up the money. They'd ask for 20 million for Dondeka or whatever, right? And we'd go 16 million. Like, why not just pay the 20? It's 4 million for this. We're selling IU for 18 million now, right? Reportedly 18, 20 million. Sacco's gone for what, 4.5 million with add-ons taking out to 8 million. We've got the money, so why are we penny pinching over 4 million? So we have these opportunities to sign players, but it's like, we put a bid in, and it is like everyone says the we tried bid, isn't it? The we tried. We'll put in this little bid. Oh, but it's 4 million out of reach. Rather than just pay the money, we'll go, oh no, we'll look elsewhere, somewhere cheaper. We could have got these players like that. Smolov, he might turn out to be shit, but at least he's scored a lot more goals in his career and a lot more experience putting the ball in the back of the net than Hugo, who might turn out to be good, but
he actually cancelled the deal, didn't he? That's the funny thing. He actually cancelled the deal because he thought that the club were getting undervalued for his value. He thought that West Ham were mugging off Canspor, only paying 12 million for him, and he said, if that's what you're getting, don't bother, I'll go for more in the summer.
Unbelievable.
It's a good question. A good question's coming on our YouTube channel saying, do you guys think the board have an agenda against us fans? I know it sounds counterproductive, but after the spin story they put on the fans' approach at Wigan, I'm not sure. I was there at Wigan, just for any of you guys, and it was a joke.
I don't think they've got an agenda against us. I think they've got an agenda that they want to fill their pockets as much as they can.
Yeah.
And if they can buy some fucking shithouse from Preston for 9 million rather than a Russian bloke for 12 million, well, they've saved 3 million quid. Yeah. And this bloke from Preston will probably earn less money because obviously the Russian bloke's like played in Europe. He's like, I'm a big goal scorer, I want money. Well, this guy's coming from Preston, not a lot of goals. He'll probably be on like maybe 30 grand. He ain't going to be on a lot of money.
But there's definitely a disjointed salary situation at our club when you look at the whole Sacco situation. There's got to be. You're talking about players that potentially are playing. Sacco's on 30 grand. Hernandez wasn't starting. He's on over, 120, 130. Carroll's not even starting. He's on 90. It's just that there doesn't seem to be a salary bracket. There doesn't seem to be a structure in place that keeps players happy. We must be known as a laughing stock of transfers or whatever. Jack, what are you thinking? Yeah, well.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. I don't know. I think it's mainly Sullivan that's got an agenda against us. And Karen Brady. Fucking bitch.
Sullivan's the main problem.
Yeah,
I think Sullivan's the main problem. I think Gold with him. I think he's just a yes man. I think he's just literally, just on the roller coaster. He's just literally there. But Sullivan, he just doesn't know when to shut the fuck up. It's just literally like, it's like
you look at
really pissed us off. Like,
yeah.
I think that's what he does. He just says something to piss us off, and then he just
You look at the players.
Something to get out even more. It's a joke. It really is.
You look at some of the players that have been gone today, for example. You look at Giroud, who's gone to Chelsea. Now, there is no ifs or buts about it. Put Chelsea, West Ham up against each other, quality football, European football, etc., money, whatever. But at the end of the day, we do have the finances to be able to support transfers of that quality. And we have, they probably will say they've made an inquiry.
Yeah.
But have they put the effort in? Have they put the effort in? You want something that bad, you go get it. And you think to yourself, you can bring in quality player like Chicharito. There's something there. There's got to be something there. I mean, who else has gone today that's realistic that we could have got? I mean, there's players all over the place that we should have been just. It's just.
Well, like, even if it was a short time striker option like Mitrovic, like Mitrovic at Newcastle, as at least he's played in the Premier League and he scored Premier League goals.
Yeah, that's what we want. Well, that's Slimani. You know, he's got a goal every 3 games for Leicester, and that's not strictly like all starts as well. So if you look at the goals to minute ratio, it's probably pretty decent. So that would have been a good one if we would have went in and just went bang, like stick the money down straight away, no messing about. But
does it not concern you though, Dan, at the fact that we were linked with him and he's already on a train to Newcastle?
Yeah, do you know what that just tells me that the board weren't serious in their inquiries. Do you know what I mean? They might have then went,
there was rumours that apparently Leicester have got someone that was Leicester that brought him to Leicester was now at Newcastle, which is why he went up there. But he failed medical anyway. Like, he's gone back to Leicester.
Yeah, he did. He's injured. Yeah.
Oh, is he?
He's failed the medical. Yeah.
That's why, because I heard he was injured anyway. So
yeah, but this is they were debating it on Sky Sports this morning. Like, why are Newcastle signing him? Because he's got a calf strain, so he's out for 2-3 weeks. So he's going to miss 3 games.
Yeah.
And obviously he's alone, so he can't play against Leicester, and we've still got to play Leicester.
Yeah.
So he wouldn't play for 4 games. So you'd loan him to have him for 9 games.
Yeah. Well, fair enough. Then that justifies us not signing him because we need someone fit right now. We can jump straight in. And this is what brings me back to the Hugill thing, right? Is I was saying to someone on Twitter, this is the sort of signing that you would make early on in the summer window. Do you know what I mean? One of them ones that might pan out. It's got potential, this and that. It's not someone that you want to sign to fill the boots of like an Arnautovic and who comes straight in and starts to bang goals. We need someone to come in and do the job.
Like, even though Sacco and Ayew haven't scored that many goals, if you collectively take the goals between them, he's not going to replace that amount of goals.
Yeah.
Well, that's the problem.
And so the Sacco thing's a weird one, Matt, because he's apparently scored tonight against PSG or something. Like,
yeah, he came off the bench last night against PSG on his day. He scored.
Yeah. Well, no, was it PSG? Was that the goal he got? Was it against PSG?
Yeah, against PSG.
He played again.
Night.
Mental,
it was last night.
And what?
He come off the bench and scored.
And what a decent goal.
It was a banging header. Like, it's a great header.
It's not right. Something's was not right there. Like, and it's all, like I said, it's all been put down to Sacco, and we don't know the full story and what went on there. But he was a great striker. Yeah, like I said, hopefully he comes out and reveals it all. Whether it's with us or with someone else, we'll find out.
I think there's probably a lot of people out there that could give a lot of information, and it's I don't know where to begin. Like, I don't want to sound like I'm being an anarchist, I'm being exaggerating, I'm over the top, etc. But at the end of the day, you look at our squad, how depleted it is through injuries. We knew going into the summer we were thin, we were on thin ice, and the board. It's just for me personally, like I struggle to see positives with the board. I'm trying my best to be middle grounded. I'm trying my best to listen to both points of views from people who are saying, well, we could be in this situation or we could be in this situation. But I physically can't see positives at all, because everything that is a positive regarding the board is hearsay. They saved us, but we don't know if they would have actually saved us. Yeah, so it's all hearsay.
Paul Smith in the chat After this shambolic window, do you think Moyes would even want to stay, even if the board want him to?
I don't. I think he's not going to stay regardless. I think he's after this season's over. I think he's going to go. I think he's going to think, you know what, I'm not going to deal with this shit.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Do you think he'll want to stay?
I don't know. Like, there's a part of me that's again, we don't know what happens behind closed doors, etc. But I suppose you've got to think about it. Money talks. If Moyes has kept us up and he's kept us up with what he's got, then yeah, he can see his frustrations. But like you have said, what other clubs potentially going to take Moyes just now? Well, I know.
If he stays here now and we get like 10th in the summer, and there's that 6-month break clause, walk away because he's not interested in what we're doing.
And he's not been. He was promised funds. He was promised 30 million quid in the January transfer window, and he's not got it.
And he spent a grand total of nothing really.
Yeah,
sort of nothing. A $2 million loan deal or something like that. Yeah,
we're up. We're up. What? It's 2 million. It's 1.5 million pound loan.
Yeah,
and we spent 9 million on this bloke from Preston. So we've spent 10.5 million this window, but we made 28 million on selling 2 players.
Yeah, we're in profit.
Dan, as you were coming on, I was talking about the
60?
whole Andre Ayew sale. You've got to think to yourself, 18 months ago, he was a marquee signing, and they said that. They came out and they said that. Like, look what we've done, we've bought him. But for me, the sale of Andre Ayew, for me, is pretty much, the writing on the wall by saying from the board, yeah, we were wrong. He wasn't a marquee signing. He was a panic buy. Yeah.
I mean, but the thing is with Ayew, and I've said this with he's got there's something there about him, and I think to me he's a poacher, right? He, as much as people he can play on the wing, he does this. He's most effective when he's in the box and the ball's there. He's like Chicharito. And again, we've seen we don't play to Chicharito's strengths, but still, Ayew, I think, is our joint top goal scorer. Again, not a marquee signing, but it's not someone that really, if you've got no other players, no other strikers fit apart from Chicharito, you don't want to bloody sell them when you're in a relegation battle. Do you know what I mean? To a relegation rival who we're now only 4 points ahead of, we are selling them our joint top goal scorer and bringing in a championship striker who scored 18 goals in 87 games. What is wrong with us? Yeah, this is mental.
I know. I think it's beyond words, and I think that's what's leaving us all kind of so baffled with the whole thing.
We've still got to go up to Swansea, don't forget. We've still got to play them.
And you know what?
That's already written.
And you know what's going to happen?
And they'll win.
Yeah.
Well, you know what happened the last time you played Swansea when Ayew played for Swansea?
Yeah.
He just tore us apart.
Well, not one Ayew scored, and 2 Ayew scored. Both him and his brother are going to score probably against us.
Yeah, just another player to talk about is Batshuayi. Why have we not gone in all guns blazing and taken that guy? Someone explain to me. Jack, go for it.
I don't even know where to fucking begin, honestly. What are the fucking ball doing? That is one of our targets as well. Like last season and this season. And we're not going in for him.
I suppose you make a valid point there, though. He was quite... I mean, they were quite open and honest about the Batshuayi link, weren't they?
Yeah.
He was one of their main marquee signings. They bid quite big money for him and didn't get him. And in actual fact, am I correct in saying the deal was literally down to... It was so close to be getting done that they fucked it up, basically. Yeah. And now they had an opportunity to get him on a loan or an opportunity to try and put some big money out there. Would Chelsea have sold with a buyback clause? It looks like they probably would have.
Yeah. That was one of the options they offered Dortmund.
What are we doing? It's the same story with Iniacho from Leicester. It's just the same. All these names. It's like, let's just throw these names out, tempt the fans, keep them interested, thinking that we're all the... Do you know what? I tell you what, see if I was 10 years old and we were linked to all these players, I would maybe get really excited and I would maybe get a tiny bit let down, but not massively let down. But I am not 10 years old. That was 24 years ago. I am now 34 years old. Man who loves my football club, who gets excited by links but wants these links to turn into fruition. We need these players on board. And where are we going to go from here? What are we going to do, mate? Like,
pray that this guy for 9 million quid actually can play up front and works out in the team.
He'll play on the bench more like it.
Yeah.
What happened? What happened with Fellaini then? Why didn't we gone in for Fellaini? That's another one who I'm not sure, because that was the big. Before this, we was linked with him like crazy. His contract's coming to an end.
Right,
He's got the link with Moyes.
Like after today, he must be gone.
Yeah.
Mourinho brought him off the bench on the 63rd minute and subbed him off 7 minutes later.
Well, unless we.
He literally took his shirt off and stormed straight down the tunnel.
Boy.
So unless Moyes is on the phone now, like.
Yeah, get on that bloody phone. I'm telling you right now, because not a lot of people like him, right? But I don't care about that. Stump up the money and just get him. He scores goals. He's a bit of a bastard, right? So we'll have him up with Arnautovic. 2 bastards up there. Like, we'll have a bit of that. Like, get him in. It's an experienced player. Let's have it.
Guys, just for your reference, we've been joined by another guest. It's Marcus Johns. Marcus, how you doing, mate?
Not too bad, mate. Yourself? Well, I say not too bad. Bordering on suicidal, the state that West Ham have left us in. But what can I say?
Mate, Marcus, go for it. Give us your little your opinion on maybe. I tell you what, then give us your opinion on today's what you thought we needed. What you think?
I think today was a massive moment for the board. You guys know from our chat group that I'm pretty much try and stay positive about a lot of things. And I've not been joining the furore about the board out, they're to blame. I've said to you guys, I think there are worse boards we've had. But I think today has actually shown that everything I thought was utter bollocks. And that actually, they're just in it for themselves. They're just in it for the money. It's 2017, 2018 season. And we have made a profit on transfers this year. We had a £14 million net spend in the summer. We've sold Ayew and Sacco for 29 million and bought in this lad from Preston for 9. So by my reckon, we've made £6 million this year. That's not what being a competitive Premier League team is about. It is for them. It is for the board, but it's not for us as a team. Everybody has seen all season long that what we've been missing is somebody to protect our back four. It's that solid presence in midfield that Carvalho would have bought, even Fellaini would have bought. Dodonka, I'll be honest, I don't know much about him, but you read a few reports on him. He's 22. He's a Belgian international. He's playing in the Champions League. He's got to have something more about him than what we've got at the moment. And at the moment, wow, we're struggling.
Yes,
it's not going to be good for us, unfortunately. Unless some sort of miracle happens, then I think the board will let us down, and I think the people who hated the board were already going to be pissed off no matter what we did today. We could have brought in 2 or 3 players, they'd still hate the board for their own reasons. But I think people such as myself who were indifferent to the board, I think have been swayed now and see that they don't give a shit about our club. We're the only ones who give a shit about our club. And actually, they're in it for money. They're in it for personal gain. And you guys know I've long actually argued against that kind of thing and against that viewpoint. But I don't see how you can after tonight's transfer window. It's just awful.
Marcus, you look like a deflated man.
I am a deflated man.
Yeah, and I don't mean that we're not deflated. I just feel like you have joined. I'm not saying you fully joined everyone's full-on opinion. I'm just saying I feel like within here, you've felt that real.
Well, I kind of feel, because, like you say, we've all had discussions about it. I've tried to look on the positive side whenever we've discussed it amongst ourselves before, and now I feel like it's all been thrown in my face. Not that I intended to do that, of course, but all the points I was trying to make are completely invalid. They have let us down. They have failed to put their money where their mouth is. You hear reports that David Moyes identified as soon as he came into the club that central holding midfield role was vital, and we have done bollock all about it.
Still, welcome to the group. There is a lot of us on, and that's not a bad thing. This gives loads of different opinions. Still, you've heard some of the news tonight of the players we have not signed, more than the players, and also maybe the player that we are looking to sign. There is another player we're linked with just now, even though we have heard rumours that we're not going to be signing anyone else. But this player's on his way to London and looks like he's trying to force through a move to either Palace or West Ham. Matt, you can definitely pronounce his name for me.
Abdu,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, see, I'd... Sorry, guys, carry on.
Sorry, yeah.
He's a holding midfielder / centre back. Palace have been trying to buy him for 6 months. they have to sell. Like they're prepared to do a loan to buy, but they have to sell him by the summer. They have to make 17.5 million to meet financial fair play. Yep. And Palace were trying to buy him 6 months ago, 15 million. It's us and Palace that are in for him. He was on a plane to London He's on a train to London this afternoon. But I did read somewhere that they're now not letting him go to Palace. So I don't know if we can try and push this deal through.
Well, I think
jump back on it.
See, the reason I'd heard that the Palace deal was stalled was that the whole deal was relying on. Is it Lille he plays for?
Yeah.
Was relying on them being able to recall a midfielder that they had out at another team in order to fill the gap. And apparently the loan contract for their own player doesn't have that clause in it. So because they can't replace him, they're now refusing to sell him. That's the version I've heard. But
yeah, I mean, still, come on, what are your thoughts? Give us your kind of.
You've probably already heard it, I guess. Total disillusion, upset. We really thought. No, I'm telling a lie. We really thought that the board would do something, but given all the furore that's happened over the past few days, the stick they got at the Wigan game, etc. You would have thought that they would have signed someone half decent tonight, and the fact that they haven't done it has talked a lot more than their actions. They're absolutely useless. They've completely let the whole club down, and all this thing about we care, we're fans is just it can't ring true, can it? It cannot ring true.
Nah, it's all bollocks.
It's such a shame because they had an opportunity today to show some intent, and they've not done it. Was it earlier before I went offline earlier? Someone said about the Donker deal. It could have still been done. I can't remember which of you guys said it. It could have still been done, and the medical could have been done tomorrow. But they turned around and said that there was no time to do a medical. So they're just lying to. They're now treating us as complete idiots, as complete fools, and it's such a shame. They could have really redeemed themselves tonight by pulling something out of the bag. And they've not done it at all.
But the thing that gets me the most, still, and probably for the rest of you, is we shouldn't really believe in that to the last day of the deadline day. For me, to be honest, it's probably 2 seasons too late, or maybe, do you know what? Give them the benefit of the doubt, a season too late, or 2 transfer windows too late. Basically, is what I'm trying to say. It should have been done 2 transfer windows when we should have been starting to upgrade the side. Yeah, controversially, some people can say we have. To a certain extent, we have. I keep wanting to bring up the IU situation because I think to myself, £20 million we spent on that guy as the marquee signing. 18 months later, we've sold him back to Swansea, trying to do a kind of swap deal with Key, who doesn't even want to come to our club. He does not want to come to our club. And in actual fact, we're signing players, and I'm going to back him if he signs. The boy, again, I think don't know his name. It's just
that's what a marquee signing he is. No one knows his name.
Legitimately, no one knows who he was. That's the worst.
I haven't computed.
I didn't know who he was. Hugill. Is it Hugill?
Hugill.
I hope he proves us all wrong. I hope he comes on
I
the
hope
last
so.
10 minutes of a game and scores a winner for us. I really do, because up until then, the poor guy is gonna get through no fault of his own. He's gonna get stick from his own fans, because we don't know who the hell he is.
Well, that's a good point. I think the one thing that we've got to make sure we're careful of is a lot of people are saying, we're signing an unknown from the lower leagues. I think we've got a lot of disasters in that, but you think of Alan Taylor, we signed him from Rochdale. Billy Bonds, we signed him from Charlton. They'd have been unknowns from the lower leagues at the time. The lad. It's not the lad's fault that we've never heard of him. It's not his fault that he's not who we hoped would be signing us. Now, I think we've got to make sure that we get behind him. We give him, all the support we can. And hopefully he hits the ground running. Hopefully this has buoyed him up so much that he might actually come on a pitch, hit the ground running, and do something.
To be honest, this is probably the best situation for him to come in, because I remember when Zaza came in and there was so much pressure on him to do well that he completely flopped. Whereas this guy's come in, and there is no fucking pressure on him whatsoever.
You're right. Everyone's expecting him to be shit. So, anything above and beyond being shit is a bonus.
I'd say there's no expectation, but there is some kind of pressure because of the injury situation. He is going to have to play a more pivotal role, and that's what I was saying earlier about you bring someone in like that earlier in the summer. You got loads of signings. You can ease them in, bring him off the bench if you're winning. We need someone because as much as I love Chicharito, he has not been scoring for whether we've been playing to his strengths, however you want to call it. So we need another striker who can score some goals for us. And because look at the Palace game. You know, we got a penalty, thankfully. We put it in Noble, put it in the back of the net. But we didn't score from open play. And we don't have that attacking threat without Arnautovic and Lanzini. That's what we miss. So there is a bit of pressure.
Have we let Martinez go yet, or is he staying?
No, he's still here.
I'd imagine he'll be staying there.
Burke's gone.
So the likelihood he'll stay. So he's the only other striker we've got that we could kind of rely on. And I think what the board have done is they're gambling yet again, aren't they? They're gambling that all the players that are out injured at the moment are all going to come back soon. You know, there was news that Arnie could be back sooner rather than later. You know, and it's the board gambling yet again. They're going, you know what? We're going to survive the season. We'll scrape through. We'll survive. So let's not spend the money now. You know, I'm fully expecting the board to come out after tonight, you know, over the next few days and go, don't worry, everyone. We've got all the funds available for big summer signings. Yeah. And we're all going to be fucked off in the summer when they don't
how many years?
The summer, really.
Exactly. How many years have we heard that for?
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
but that's the bullshit they'll come out with by not signing anyone. They'll go, we're saving it. You know, we're going to be all right. They're fucking gambling. They're gambling that we're going to survive the league. You know, we're going to survive the drop. And then they'll give us all this shit that they're going to sign big names in the summer. And we know.
Like we said, our window is plus 17.5 million is what we finished in this window.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We sold two players, we sold two strikers for 28 million, and we spent 9 million on one striker, 1.5 million on a loan. That's never going to be completed.
Exactly.
Because there's no fucking chance in hell they're going to spend 39 million pound on a player.
No, of course it won't.
It's not going to happen.
And to be honest, if you were him and you know he looked pretty good the other night, would you want to stay with that shower of shit?
Exactly. Like, do you mean at least he's sitting thinking, oh, you know what? At least I've got this Sacco and Ayew to provide for. At least they've scored Premier League goals before. And then they ring up this morning and goes, yeah, don't worry, mate. We got Jordan Hugill coming in from Preston.
Got this bloke from
Preston.
Preston.
Who the fuck is he? Like, Jack Mario's probably going to meet him tomorrow morning and be like, who the fuck is he? Is this the new
maybe that's what won him over.
Something?
Maybe that's what won him over. They said to him, look, fuck Inter. We got this dynamite bloke coming from Preston that's going to play alongside you, and he's got to score a hatful of goals when he's supplied the ball to him.
Still, it could be worse. Poor fucking Ashley Fletcher. His career is just taking a massive swan dive.
Yeah, good point.
He's just gone on loan to Sunderland. I mean,
is he?
Me.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, poor lad.
Where did you get that? Where did you get that?
It's on Sky Sports. He was having a medical 50 minutes ago. He was having a medical on Wearside ahead of a loan move to Sunderland for the rest of the season.
Poor boy.
So in 18 months, he's gone from playing for us to playing for fucking Sunderland, who are going to be probably playing League One next season.
Listen,
could be worse. It could be worse for the lad. He could have rejoined us.
Yeah.
Is this guy? Do you know what? I'm going to actually officially go and learn his name. What is Hugo? Is he our level? Right. And what I mean by that is not level in terms of team, level of quality of signing we can make, considering which is what I'm led to believe that over 90% of players are knocking us back not because of fees or salaries.
If we go down, he's our level.
Yeah.
Simple as that. If we go down, the club are building for a season or two in the championship. But if we don't go down, well, I hope the guy proves us wrong. But I can't see it with his goal scoring.
Yeah, I agree. I hope he proves us wrong as well. I hope that he literally just thinks, you know what? He's not his fault. It's like, who's not going to turn down the Premiership? You're a Championship player. You know, think,
exactly, yeah.
Opportunity to go like, you think, I know, I'm going to be in the Premiership. I'm going to play in this large stadium. It's like, he's like, fuck it, I'm going to take the ball and run with it. So, you know, like, I'm going to support him. You know what I'm saying? I'm not happy with how the board have gone with this, how they've done their business. As many
I think most West Ham fans
done it against us. They've done it against us.
There's some news coming through saying that Slimani has passed his medical.
Yeah, the second one, and they decided he passed it.
Oh,
Because
what?
the third one, like an hour and a half ago.
Yeah, I
I've
don't
just
know.
seen
There's
that.
some breaking
That's
news
one of
coming
them
through.
bung the fucking examiner some money. Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
they threw 3 grand. Like, yeah, you passed your medical, mate. That's insane.
It's probably
Lads,
the
Listen,
I've got a question for you all. The fact that, here we are saying, Hugo, he's not exactly what we want. At this moment in time, there's 35 minutes to go to the transfer window finishes, till it closes, and we've not announced him. If we end up having not announced him by the end of the night, what are we going to think then? Would we have rathered him, or would we have?
It's better than
he had
nothing.
joined.
That's the thing. That is the only thing you can say is like, it is better. We need bodies, and
It's
that
better
is.
than no one.
I made this joke before you came on earlier, Marcus. That
Yeah.
after the Wigan game, we all sitting there saying we need fucking bodies in the door.
Yeah.
Golden Sullivan sat there and heard it and went, "Oh shit, they don't really care. We want bodies. Fuck it, we'll get anyone."
Get anyone.
And they've just
But
like
the thing is,
found
though,
someone.
you say about
Because
they
at
want
least
bodies through the
he's a
door.
centre forward. He is a centre forward, and like Jamie Redknapp was on Sky Sports earlier, and he's a target man, but he's 6 foot, so I don't know how that's going to work. But he can hold the ball.
I think he's quite
running
strong.
down
I
the
think he's quite
channels.
physical.
Well,
They said he
So
will hold the ball up
basically,
well,
he's coming
and he runs
in-
the channels, which is
So
what Moyes
basically, he's
wants.
coming in to cover for Carroll. Until
Yeah,
Carroll
pretty much.
Basically, yeah.
And I think that's a good point you make there, Stel. And I think, Matt, you started to make it earlier, is that yes, we don't exactly want someone, we want somebody better. We do want somebody better than Hugo, but who's going to come and be our third or fourth choice striker that's better than him?
Yeah.
I don't see who else would, because the way that he's played, Moyes has played so far, it's been Arnautovic and when fit, Antonio. Then you've got Hernandez, and then you've got Carroll. So he's going to be fourth, maybe fifth choice striker. We're not going to get anyone much better than that. And my biggest problem with all of this is that he's going to sit on the bench, or when everyone's fit, probably not even that. So why are we looking to bring in bodies up front? Why are we not looking to try and shore up that midfield? Because if we concede less, we have to score less to win.
I
It's
didn't
simple.
think we needed to bring in strikers until they sold 2 strikers in 2 days.
And
I suppose,
Carroll's
yeah.
out for the
That's my
season.
issue.
Don't forget that. Carroll, we won't see him
Carroll
again.
won't play again this season.
And we need
So
to
you've
fuck him off in the
essentially
summer.
just dropped 3. We were overloaded up front, and we had 6 strikers.
Yeah.
And you've essentially just dropped 3 of them.
Yeah, and that's it, I suppose. But then there were 3 of them that weren't playing because Moyes was playing one up front and he was playing midfielders up front because they're pacier.
What's going to happen again if we get injuries again to Lanzini and Arnautovic and God forbid we get and God forbid we get an injury to Mario. Now we're sort of like, we're relying for the rest of the season for those players to come back and not get injured again.
Yeah, they've got to come in.
Who would have thought? Yeah, who would have thought that we'd lose Lanzini and Arnautovic at the same time?
Well, it's the West Ham way, isn't it? So probably everyone.
Guys, I'm just going to quickly interrupt, and we're going to welcome Luke into the chat. Luke, how you doing, mate? You okay?
You're all right, mate.
Yeah, good. We're also going to ask, if you don't mind, Matt, can you mute for about 10-15 minutes? Is that all right? And Cess, are you okay doing that for 10-15 minutes? Just come back in at 10-15 and we'll just get another chat to go. Yep. Cool. So, look, you've obviously, I don't know if you've been listening to the chat, you've seen a lot of the breaking news.
Yeah.
I mean, we're literally talking about the level of player we can sign. Well, here we go. Sky sources, Lille refused to sell Amadou to Crystal Palace, but player pleading with club to reconsider. So the player is currently in London, and like we said earlier on, he's trying to push through for
trying to force a move, isn't he?
Yeah. What are your thoughts on our whole process?
Do you know what? As a West Ham fan, you expect nothing, and you're still disappointed. And do you know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know why anyone expected anything to happen today. It never gets done on the final day for us anyway. But you look at that squad, and what the hell are they thinking to still be sending players? Now, as a lot of you know, I like Ayew. I think he, coming off the bench, he's an all right player. But even if you have opinions on him, which you don't like him, but you just keep him because look at the squad depth. There's none there. I just don't understand. I don't understand the process. I just don't understand the thinking.
Yeah,
Can I ask? Here's a quick point from you. If we're talking about a player like Hugo in the lower league, not performing, not scoring loads of goals, why is it taking us so long to get the deal through the line? Am I reading into this too much? Like, surely at that level, you just take the player.
Well, yeah, and I think it's probably one that's come up late in the window because other targets haven't wanted to sign or have turned us down. But I don't get why we pull the plug on £12 million for Russia's captain, who's an international striker who scores goals, and spend pretty much the same amount, like a couple of £1 million less, on somebody who doesn't score in a championship.
That sounds, Marcus, like that's another Southern cock-up, because I bet he's gone in. Because what did the club want? They wanted 12 million for him.
12 million, yeah.
And the club have probably gone in and offered something like 8. And from what we read earlier on today, the player himself turned around and said, basically,
if you're going to take the piss,
you're pissing us around. You're pissing the club I'm playing for around. You're pissing me around. Sod it. You'd pull the deal. For what? Probably for a couple of mil.
Yeah.
You know, and then the board have gone, panic. We need someone.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's this Hugill near enough.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like you said, Marcus. You know, for the board, it probably suits them because he's going to be a third, fourth choice striker who probably won't mind sitting on the bench.
No, you won't upset the apple cart. Probably cheap wages.
Yeah, exactly. Will Smolov come and sit on the bench once everyone's fit? Probably not. You know, I'm dying to see what's going to happen when all our players are back and who's going to get dropped up the front. You know, is he going to play all these players that we will have back? You know, like Mario and Lanzini and Arnautovic and Antonio. Hopefully,
but that gets to that level. Dan, there's a couple of comments coming through to see what your thoughts are on this. 4 more from Paul Mills. 4 more years until Sullivan and Gold can sell without paying money to the government for the stadium lease. That's at least 8 more disgraceful transfer windows just like this one.
Yeah. Well, I think it's because it's 5 years after the it's 5 years after the move, wouldn't it, or something that they have to. If they sell it before that 5 years is up, then they have to give a cut to the LLDC, whatever the bloody hell they're called. Yeah, if they sell it, so. Yes, it seems like a lifetime, doesn't it? If we have to put up with this, constantly getting strung along to the next window, disappointment, it's going to get to the point. I just think fans, you're already starting to see some rumblings. You've got this real West Ham fans coming up. It's going to get really unpleasant if this continues. Like, to be honest with you, like I can't deal with it anymore. It's winding me up, mate.
It really is tough, and I tell you what, we always say a lot on this show that we feel that social media is a minority, because I still believe it is. If you take into consideration every West Ham fan in the world and you go by social media, it's still a minority. But a lot of people I speak to who aren't on social media are within the similar pretense, and they're not behind the board, they're not behind what's actually going on in the club. A comment my dad made the other day, coming from a 74-year-old man, he's still with it. Marcus, you've met him and all that kind of stuff, and he's still with it. And he just said, "Do you know what, son? At the end of the day, they just don't have the ambition. They don't have. It's a word we all know. They just don't have the ambition. They don't care about the ambition anymore. Money has taken over. That is it. That is literally. Now I know I'm saying stuff that we all know, but it's just slamming home exactly the way that this board are. Anyway, you can probably see a new face on the chat. Alf, how you doing?
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. We're just kind of going through a lot of the transfers. You've obviously heard about none of the transfers that we've made today or potentials, but listen, Nigel Can, don't know if any of you are familiar with Nigel. He's on Twitter. He's coming on and he's actually said, facts are, you never get anything decent in January. We shouldn't sign players to keep people happy. Too many fans just wrapped in. We have to make signings. We aren't going down best. I'll try to read that part there. I think he's basically saying that we shouldn't just rely on the January window, especially the last day of the year. He's also said that Martin Samuelson has joined Championship Burton Albion on loan.
We shouldn't have to rely on the January transfer window. We shouldn't. That's the key word, have to. But we do because of the shit summer we did, and we sold loads of players and bought very few in. So. Yeah. You know.
Just to confirm, Slimani has joined Newcastle.
Newcastle, yeah, it's just come up here.
Yeah, and have you heard Mitrovic has gone to Fulham or going to Fulham?
Well, they've said
he's going back to Anderlecht, hasn't he?
I thought he was going back to Anderlecht. Yeah, that's right.
I've got in front of me breaking news.
Yeah, that's been cancelled.
Fulham.
Oh, right.
It has.
Oh.
No, the Anderlecht one's been cancelled, so it could be going to Fulham. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's because they didn't have enough money to buy him because we didn't buy Dundonka.
Alf, what's your take on the whole situation?
Well, I think my feelings are quite widely known, really, about the whole January transfer window. I don't think we put ourselves in a situation, and the rest of the teams are just exploiting the predicament that we've got ourselves into. I'm a great believer that we should have done the business not last summer. This is 2 summers ago. We should have actually built a squad up from them. When we left the Bolin, I didn't want to go. I'm a staunch believer that we should never have left, but that's in the past kind of thing. But we should have built on from that last season, and we didn't. And that's basically where we are now. We've just been so underfunded and reinforced the last 2 seasons. So Payet left. Well, good riddance. If you don't want to be with us, then on your bike, son. But at the same time, we just never replaced these players. Now we're getting to a situation where our squad is so thin, and Moyes is only doing what he can do. We have to admire him for actually getting the boys to even put out any kind of performance. But we're coming on social media, or you're speaking to your mates, and everybody's just losing their mind over the performances and the quality of players that we've got. And at the same time now, we're selling players, with a squad that's already depleted. And who are we buying? I actually wrote in the week that maybe we shouldn't be looking at European players, unproven Premiership players. We should be actually looking maybe to the Championship or to League One, because let's face it, League One players have actually, shown us how to play football the last couple of cup ties, haven't they?
Certainly their defenders.
I was joking. We should be buying Premiership players, not unproven players. It's an absolute farce.
Alf, just put you on some. You said there, mate. You said
they're just outside the stadium on Sky Sports News now.
I'm just trying to see what they're saying. Yeah.
So just past his medical. He's passed his medical to Preston Geezer.
Okay.
Get excited, lads! Come on.
Exciting times.
On you go, mate.
Yeah, I was just going to say, because you mentioned there about how you're feeling if you're David Moyes, we've let him down, and I kind of agree with you there. But the question would be is how much do you think that Moyes' uncertain future and the fact there's a lot of talk about the fact that he said he doesn't want to be there next summer already is actually affecting the players? Because if you're a player, do you want to sign a 2-year contract when you only know that manager is going to be in place for the next couple of months? Do you think that's turning some of the players away as much as our board is?
But has he said that, Marcus, or is that speculation?
I've heard it from a couple of people that I trust their opinion from within the club.
I can't see why he would want to leave the club. I think he can build his reputation up again. West Ham, it's an ideal club for him.
I kind of agree with you, and you guys know I wasn't particularly in favour of Moyes joining, and I still question some of his tactical nous and some of his ability to set up a balanced team. But you're right. At the moment, I'm not sure who else is out there that's better, so I would keep him on, and I'd like to keep him on. I'd like him to stay. And I never thought I'd hear myself say those words.
Have you guys seen this story that's just come out about Tony Henry? Apparently, he's sparked a bit of a race row because he's come out and said we don't want to sign any African players because they cause mayhem.
Oh wow!
Oh great,
Matt, Dan, where are you seen that, mate? Is that just kicking about on Twitter somewhere?
It's the mail.
Sport. I've just seen it.
Yeah, I've gone through.
I've posted that. Unbelievable! You can't make it up. Wow. What a joke we are right now, honestly.
Sorry, go for it.
Yeah, we've got Karen Brady, who's fighting for women's rights, but at the same time she hires a manager who nobody really wanted, who also wanted to slap a woman, just for saying something. Now we've got Henry actually saying that he doesn't want to, hire anybody just for the colour of their skin. What does that say about us? Come on,
it's a joke. I mean, it's a ridiculous. It's a ridiculous statement anyway. Because talking about African players causing mayhem. Well, yeah, I mean, Salah and Mane are doing all right at Liverpool, aren't they? They're causing mayhem to everyone else's defence. I wouldn't mind a couple of that. African players are going to do that. I think it's an absolutely ridiculous statement.
How many more mistakes are we going to make? Not just in transfers, but just
hundreds.
Media. It seems to be, and it's not just because we are West Ham fans. But in general, when you talk to any neutral person everyone knows our situation because it's so publicised, because it's so amateurish.
Yeah, But it's because no other club in the Premier League has a board like ours. I don't know another board that comes out and says, yeah, we're going to go in for this player. We're going to promise you this. We're going to promise you that. All the fans get riled up and stuff, and then it doesn't happen. So you don't see it in. I don't know another team that you do see it in, to be honest.
Mike Ashley at Newcastle, maybe, but yeah, he's not as vocal. That's for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not backing the board. I don't like the board, but I'll give them credit. They haven't actually opened their mouths a lot this transfer window.
Yeah, but the fact you have to highlight that. The fact you have to highlight that says it all.
Oh,
yeah.
Do you know
That's
what I mean?
the only positive.
Exactly.
David Sullivan hasn't been in the press.
It's like saying, "Oh, I'll give my wife credit. She ain't cheated on me." This,
But I'll tell you what, though, on that point on the board, and we don't want them saying stuff. Yeah, we don't want them saying stuff about the ins and outs in terms of names, etc., leaking names. But what we want them to do is speak out and talk to the fans. When was the last general proper
fan interaction? Yeah,
fan interaction conversation you had with fans that hasn't been forced?
They used to have fan forums at Upton Park, so I went to a couple of them, where you'd have the manager, the chairman, and a couple of players. They don't do anything like that anymore. They're not interested. They're not. The whole outreach to the fan was a load of bullshit and a smokescreen to make us think they understood us, to get us on board with the move to the Olympic Stadium. And as soon as that deal is done and the money's in their pockets, they could not give a shit about us. We are customers at best. That's the way they view us. So,
but even a company doesn't treat its customers the way they treat us.
No, exactly, exactly.
Utter contempt.
Like I said to someone last week, if we didn't have such a loyal fan base, what would our club be right now? Really?
Yeah, it's the only thing that keeps me going, to be honest. Our fans.
Exactly.
And even then, some of them, you think,
So
I do worry though about the continuation of this board, and if they continue to be the way they are. I'm not trying to say we're going to lose our interest, but in terms of supporting West Ham, but people are not going to turn up. People will not turn up. You know that yourself. You know yourself, right? And I've reiterated this before, and I was talking about it when I was at Wigan. Several years ago, under Gianfranco Zola, I'm adamant it was under Gianfranco Zola, we were playing Bolton away, and there must have been about 100 away fans at the stadium. About 100 away fans, and I was one of them sitting there. But it just felt normal. It just felt normal to travel away with 200-300 West Ham fans. Now you're struggling to get a ticket. I think those days will find themselves back because people aren't going to travel and ain't going to. Yeah, okay, it doesn't line the board's pocket as opposed to the away games, but just in general, they're going to lose so much interest in it. Like I can tell you right now, and some of the guys in this group can back it up. I am so fed up. Like I've lost so much energy talking about it half the time. So I don't even know why we do this YouTube channel because it gets me so bloody frustrated. I go to bed.
Now you know why I try and avoid it.
Yeah, and Dan, Dan, for you're massively involved, obviously, with West Ham Fan TV, and you're on the forefront of meeting hundreds of different opinions. Yeah. I mean, where are you at with the whole kind of West Ham? Where's your passion? Why is your passion there? Why do you continue to go? What's your drive?
Yeah, I mean, I have that passion for West Ham, and I always I love watching West Ham. I love the chance that we might win a game and seeing your team win live and seeing them play and all of that. The thing where it gets sapped out, and I don't want to harp too much on the stadium, is the stadium does feel more like an effort to get down there, you know what I mean? And it's not and I know a lot of people who've stopped going, like they've just had enough. My aunt sold her season ticket just by not just the stadium, but then the shenanigans with the board, so people are the enjoyment of it. It's not so much the passion for West Ham people are losing, they're losing the enjoyment of West Ham. And that's what it is. And I can understand that fully. It is becoming because when it was at Upton Park and we didn't have all these promises and all this stuff and this board doing all this, it was just the experience, wasn't it? Walking down Green Street, seeing all those familiar faces, having a pint, and you're in your comfortable home.
It is a very different experience now. I mean, I'm always loath to use. I agree with all of your points. I'm loath to use a stadium as an excuse simply because you look at nights such as when we beat Tottenham in May last year at the end of the season. That atmosphere was as good as anything there ever was at Upton Park. So it can be done, but I think the problem is, for me, the problem with the stadium is the additional 20,000 fans that aren't proper West Ham.
Mm.
You know, there are people there who don't understand West Ham. They've gone along because it's a cheap ticket, and it's a fact. This affordable football. Yes, it's a good thing on one hand. We get the kids in, we get them interested, but you know, you're bringing up day trippers and tourists.
Yeah, but you know, on that, there was no real. We know this as well. There was no real consultancy about when you move. You don't think, right, where do you want to sit? There was no like, do you want a singing area? Do you want the biggest thing that got me probably more than anything was there was no family stand from day dot. They've left the stadium with a family stand and moved to a new stadium without a family stand. It's like they've got the most tiniest details.
Yeah, I think, you know, what you said, Anne, it's actually going to be the reverse. I think there's going to be a bigger, as there is at the moment, a bigger away fan base. And the only games that you'll see probably, if things carry on the way they do at the London Stadium, is when the big games happen, like the Tottenhams, etc. But all the other games are going to start being half full. You know, that's probably the way I see it going. So the away fans, because they want that experience, because that experience is still going to be there at proper football stadiums.
I agree with you still. I just think I'm thinking more probably predicting the future. Like if 3 or 4 years from now we're very similar predicament, at that point I'm thinking, will things like, will it? We are still trying to draw that kind of interesting away day, and it is good fun and etc. But if things keep continuing the way they're going, like we're not going to be in the Premier League because we don't take it to the next level.
No,
a lot of people are confident in saying we ain't going down this year.
Yeah, I don't know where that.
But we're only 4. I mean, in actual fact, I've not even looked at the table after tonight.
And Swansea are picking up as well now. That's why I'm reiterating about the Ayew move. Why would you sell it to basically a relegation rival?
Yeah, I actually agree with you there, mate. Like you say, if Ayew's going back to Marseille and we're bringing in someone better than Preston North End striker, then it's a worthwhile deal. But I don't get why we would sell somebody who has already established themselves in the Premier League for somebody who hasn't. And like you say, selling it to a relegation rival.
I think he's our joint top goal scorer actually as well. I'm not too sure.
He's got 6 this season. You know, it's not a bad return. I mean, yes, I unlike you, Luke, I'm not a massive fan of him. I don't massively rate him, but at this moment in time, I would rather have Ayew than Hugo. Yeah. Hopefully, the lad proves me wrong. But
Alf, what's your thoughts on the Ayew transfer?
Well, I agree. He shouldn't have been sold. He shouldn't have been sold, you know, when we're so thin. But also, he should never have gone to Swansea. You know, and you know, a lot of people have been asking, where's all the money going? You know, well, we're getting 18 million for Ayew now. So, where is that money going if we're not paying out for players?
But there was an article that came out on the website on Monday where Moyes said we have enough money to buy quality players. That was Monday.
But he's also said that he doesn't want to buy any players that won't do us any good, which I kind of agree with. But
I understand that. Yeah.
The problem is that his targets are, he's looking for top quality Premiership talent that can come into our squad and just hit the ground running. That's impossible. We've left it way too late. Let's say we should have done this last summer. What we should be looking for, and I kind of, you know, say it in jest, but I'm actually really serious as well. We should be looking at really good quality professionals. You know, they don't have to be, you know, your world beaters who are going to the World Cup. They're just really good quality professionals. And, you know, to say, you know, the Wigan, they showed us how to play football. And I'm not saying they're fantastic players, but they're good, solid players. Look at the way they were playing. They were playing it through midfield, hitting the wings and crossing the ball. Well, that's something that we haven't done properly in a long, long time. So where does it start? It starts from midfield and it starts at wide, and we haven't got anybody up front. Our targets are all wrong.
Yeah.
So I'm a bundle of joy tonight. I know.
No, it's some good points. It's some good points. I mean, you've got a question. I mean, Tony Henry was brought in to be the man who would identify good talent in areas where it's needed. What is he doing? What is he doing then? I mean, it seems like the only reason we've signed this lad from Preston is because one of David Moyes' old mates from when he was manager there has called him up and said, if you want a striker, he'll do. And we've signed him on that. It's like a jobs for the boys. It's like a backhanded deal, basically.
Doesn't this go
It's
back to the
disgraceful.
question that if we've have targeted all these players, the Donkers, etc., and they're all turning us down, then there clearly must be something deeply wrong with the club itself. I don't think it can just be Moyes potentially not wanting to stay. You know, what else could it be? Could it be that people don't fancy West Ham? They don't see it as a stable club.
Quite possibly. Well, quite possibly. And would you? I mean, we all love West Ham because we've been West Ham fans for years. But if you're a professional player out there, would you want to sign for our club at the moment? I'm not sure I would. You know, you don't know what the future holds. You've got chairmen who are probably going to sign you and then slag you off. You know, what is there to draw you to West Ham at the moment? You know, the stadium. Golden Sullivan thought the stadium would, but it's not good enough.
The stadium was used to draw players, but obviously, if the fans are not happy with it, then why are professional players going to be?
Well, exactly, yeah. They're not going to look at it. And...
Marcus, your point is valid, and I think maybe you will all agree. You will speak to the neutral fan who is not whatever. I mean, you speak to someone who's maybe not even a football fan, and they will probably know more about West Ham than they do know about any other club because of the shambolic, running of the club, the whole takeover with it. We're in the media because, first and foremost, because of the stadium move, because of the government processes, because of the money that was paid, the taxpayer, blah, 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 blah. So people know when you associate the Olympic Stadium, they think of West Ham. So they're already there. The thing I'm saying about this is players are not attracted to that anymore because they know the way the club's run. And therefore, I made a comment last night to you guys that was said to me that 90% of players, I'm bringing it up again, 90% of players are knocking West Ham back. It's nothing really to do with the transfer fees. And my point here is, if the board decide to start spending money now, they've probably done so much damage in the transfer window that they probably can't bring the player in. So in actual fact, they found themselves in a situation where they actually have to go into the market, which is the Championship, because that's the only place they're going to get players. And that's something that I thought they would do initially anyway. I said this in a previous video. They would go and take up the best talent of the Championship. But he's not even the best talent of the Championship. So
no, he's not. No, I mean
the problem is if you employ a manager on a short-term contract, that basically upsets everybody. You know that puts nobody is confident in the future of their own position within the club. Whether you're a player, whether you're a coach, whether you're the bloody tea lady, it's that's why it was a bad appointment in the first place. I'm not saying Moyes is a bad appointment. I'm saying, but his short-term contract was a bad appointment. They should have said, right, we're going to employ you for a year and a half, 2 years. Let's see what you can do.
Well, I think what was interesting about that is they said that they had targets and they wouldn't leave clubs in the middle of a season. It was easier to get them in summer. So who were these targets? Because Sean Dyche has just signed a new 4-year contract, and that Marco Silva's been sacked by Watford. So were they our targets? Because obviously we hadn't tapped up, or we hadn't spoken to Dyche if he's then going to go and sign a 4-year contract if we were expecting him to come and take over from us. So I can only assume it was Silva. But I know he had a bit of a rough ride at Fulham, but at Watford. But is he going to be any better than David Moyes? I don't know anymore. I used to think he would be. I don't know. I don't see. I'm not a fan of David Moyes, but I do not see who is out there that would come to West Ham that is any better at the moment. No, and you're right. If the board wanted to back him, I remember. I'm going to sound very name droppy and board loverish now, which isn't the case at all. But before the Huddersfield game, I was having a drink with a few people, and Jack Sullivan was one of them. And he said at the time, when Slav was under pressure, he was saying about Tony Henry absolutely loves David Moyes. And it was obvious from then that David Moyes was going to come in as our manager. So if everybody rates him, if it was always going to be David Moyes, is this 6-month story just a load of bullshit? Or have they just managed it so badly? Because if he was their man from day one, why not give him a 2.5-year contract and actually back him in the transfer market? Because they haven't backed him, which makes me think that he is only there till the summer.
Yeah,
his first day on the job. His first day on the job, there were issues that he identified. We were leaking goals. So he said, first order of business, stop leaking goals, which he kind of did.
Disciplinary.
Yeah, get us organised and disciplinary. Right. So Antonio now, right? He gets dropped yesterday for not turning up to a meeting or whatever, and a bit of argy-bargy on the training field. Quite rightly, in my opinion, that's it. On you go. You're not playing. In the media today, old Jim White is virtually having a go at David Moyes, saying, "Oh, maybe you shouldn't have, dropped him in a crucial match." No, I'm sorry. The whole point was that we were in a shambles under Bilic. I was a Bilic fan, actually, but it was a shambles under Bilic. All the players were taking the piss. Moyes has come in, even on a 6-month contract, and he's drawn a line on the sand. And he said, right, no, nobody is taking the piss anymore. You're going to have to run, or else you're not going to play.
It's because he's walked into the club and he's seen how many players have a hold over the club. I mean, he must have come in, seen Sacco's attitude, and just thought, "What is going on here?" And he's not taking it. And I back him 100%.
Yeah, he's basically had too much to do, too many problems to sort out in such a short space of time. My original point, which I was going to make, is that when he came in November, the second order of business would have been to sit down with the owners and say, right, we need to reinforce here. We need to target the players now. We need to make our approaches now so that at the end of December, they're ready to sign. Just like Liverpool did.
Yeah,
just like
Virgil van Dijk signed on the 1st of January. Why are we having to leave it late? You know, the Donker's name can be mentioned for about a week or two. Why not just pay the fucking money and get him in? Because we need him. We need him, and we're going to struggle now, especially without Obiang. We are reliant on Noble, who, you know, I'm not one of these who said his legs have gone in the sense that he turned shit, but I mean, as in, you know, he is in his 30s. We're relying on him now. If Obiang is out to the end of the season, we're relying on Noble to play every single game between now and the end of the season.
We're too dependent on a player we shouldn't be depending on.
Exactly, yeah. He is dependable, don't get me wrong. You know, I'm not one of those that's ever seen his name on the team sheet and thought, shit, you know, we're in trouble here. Because personally, I think he offers so much as a captain, as an organiser. But
there's the irony, Mark. The irony is that, you know, we're all losing our heads over the fact that we're selling strikers and bringing in a striker from a lower league, and yet the thing that Moyes did identify and said it long time ago is the midfield. Even before, as you said, Obiang got injured, and all efforts. You're absolutely right. All efforts should have been made. We should have They must have targeted. Or Moyes must have targeted 2 or 3 players that he wanted. So why wasn't the deal done sooner? You're absolutely right. And I think this goes back to the board again. The board, they piss around. They want to get cheap deals in. If they don't think they're going to get a cheap deal in, they want to get all these loan deals in with a potential to sign. You know, I'm surprised that we even got Joao Mario. You know,
yeah, I am, to be honest. I think the board probably are.
I'm really,
That was down to Jose Fonte, wasn't it?
Yeah,
definitely. Exactly. Yeah, you got to respect his professionalism, though.
Yeah.
Did anybody see João Mario's expression in the Wigan match though? When he was looking around at other players and he was thinking, "What the bloody hell have I got myself into here?" Did anybody see that?
I did.
Yeah. And you can't blame him. You can't blame him.
He was thinking, "What the hell have I done? I should have stayed in Milan."
Guys, can I ask?
He looks like a good.
I'm going to ask a question here. We obviously know there's a lot of attention on a new group that's coming out, and a lot of fans are jumping on it. And there's going to be a march coming up in the near future, and it's definitely in the board's, eyesight. They know what's happening, what's there. And again, I'm not saying they're going to sit there and they're going to sign a player because of all these situations that's going on. But I mean, surely they look at the situation and they think the fans are not happy. There's going to be protests. There's going to be this. There's going to be that. There's quality players available. Do you think that, Dan? I'll probably throw you under the bus here a little bit. What are your thoughts on that whole situation, mate? With the whole kind of new action group and the fact that the board, I mean, are they listening to the fans? Like, do they have an interest in the fans? I mean, I know you guys go to the bloggers group. There has been stuff that has been said that has been done. There's stuff that has been said that wasn't done.
Yeah. I mean, obviously there is quite a few that's come out. I mean, I think regardless of, I mean, we all know what Brady's like, but I think regardless, it's important to have those meetings and put the stuff to them. If they do it or not, you're putting it on them, basically. And I think with this action group, I think they're slightly worried and they're trying to placate them, and which is sort of what Brady's done in a way. It's sort of like, let me placate the fans, appease them where we can, and hopefully they'll sort of pipe down. And I think that's what they're thinking with the West Ham, the action group, because they've met them. They made a few little, we're going to do these few little token things. We'll sort out the memorial. We'll do this, and so do the bare minimum. But I mean, they're a good bunch of guys. You know, we met them. We had them on our channel, and I think it's necessary. You know, I mean, we'll see when the march happens and how that goes. We'll see the full extent of it. But I like the idea behind it. You know, they're clued up, and I think it's. You know, they need to be held accountable and put under a bit of pressure and make them squirm a bit if we can, you know.
Just for any of you guys that are watching on the show tonight, we're actually have invited them on, and they're coming on to our show next week to have a chat and kind of give our subscribers and kind of extended subscribers or viewers, etc., more of an insight into it ever since they've had more momentum and they've booked their march, etc. So we'll see what happens with that. I know there's quite a few people out there that are still undecided on what's going to happen, but that's what we're bringing them on for, and just see what we're going to do with it. Anyone got anything to say on that?
Yeah, sorry, go on.
I was going to say, I think I'm dubious of it for the very simple reason that, I'd be intrigued to hear when they're on the show next week exactly what they hope to achieve from it and what they expect is realistically possible. Because if it's just to moan about the board and moan about everything to do with the club, then I think when they released that 6-point plan, and there were some things on there, such as we want the castle back on the badge. Now, I'm not being funny, but that, for me, isn't a high priority. The castle isn't West Ham's heritage. It didn't appear on a badge until 1964. The Hammers are our heritage. They're on the board. They're on the badge. Yes, I'm not a fan of a London. If you stuck an East London on there, perfect. But look at what's going on at the club. Look at the lack of funding they're putting through. That should be the focal point. And I think that actually what these fans groups need to do is come together and find one focal point to march about and protest about. Not 6 or 7 different things that can lose, because you lose the importance of what you're trying to get across. If you're saying, we're against this and this and this and this and this. It loses its impact. I think that you should look at transfers are the obvious one. The lack of transfer activity, the lack of money being invested into our club from them, that's what I think everyone should come together and actually protest and demand answers for. I don't know how you would get those answers, and I guess those guys are better connected than I, but I just wonder that if you march about too many things, it loses its impact. Well, that's my concern.
Say one thing on that, Marcus, with the points you raised, because you made a good point. I think the idea behind the smaller points that they're trying to make, I think they did saying like put East London or take the London off, but those smaller points, the idea was that is to put a few things that are actionable by the board to test their willing, basically, to engage and then go along the bigger points.
Fair enough, but weren't a few of those things, because wasn't the original discussion around, excuse me, that they would march unless these things were done, and then a couple of those smaller things were looked at, but they then decided to march anyway. I don't know. Something needs to be done, and there needs to be dialogue between fans groups and the board, so that they know, in a calm, collected manner, that we are not happy. There's no point going up and screaming and abusing them because they'll shut themselves off. And I'm not saying the West Ham fans group have done that. I'm just saying that there are people who would probably, if they saw David Gold and David Sullivan in the street, shout, abuse them, criticise them there and then. It needs to be, for me, productive conversation whereby you can actually find out, well why haven't we invested?
I think the only way, I think the only solution is they come out in an interview and address the points that the fans are making.
Yeah, and the West Ham TV thing would be the perfect one for it. But I don't know what the answer is, and I don't want to, I don't want to dampen the flames of the real supporters action group thing because fair play that people want to do something about our club, but I don't know. I think maybe there are potentially better ways of doing it than marching down in Stratford, because are Golden Southern really going to give a shit in our ivory tower up in the stadium? I think we need to get something that will be hard hitting, that will be factual, that will be truthful, that will be conversation provoking. I don't know what it is. I'm not saying that the March is the wrong answer, because I genuinely don't know if there is a better answer. But yeah, I think
like you're saying, Marcus. I think for me personally, when it comes down to it, I'm looking forward to. I'm kind of saving a lot of my decision making on it until next week, because I'm actually physically going to speak to Andy. I've been speaking to him a lot over the past couple of weeks, and we've got some questions we're going to put to him, and he's open and honest, and he said he wants the surprise element coming onto the show, so we're up for that. But at the end of the day, I think I'm there. I think I'm with it. I just want to kind of clarify a few things, and then that's my own decision from there onwards. But listen, we know the transfer window's closed.
We haven't even confirmed Hugo yet, have we?
no, not yet. But when you think about the players that potentially were available or who are available, so haven't left, a player I'm going to throw out to you just now is even Dembele from Celtic, a player that we were supposedly linked to for a while.
Yeah.
He's having problems at Celtic. Therefore, apparently Celtic went to a club recently and offered him at a lower price because they think they want.
It's about 14 million, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think they offered him to Brighton for 14. So
yeah. Now I know the league in Scotland's not the best. I'm very aware of that. I live up here. I don't watch it much because of that reason. So maybe I'm putting myself in the firing line for that. But you have a player who is being recognised by the is it Didier Deschamps, French manager. You've got a player that has scored at Champions League level and is scoring regular currently. Why are we not going in for players like that? Because no one else. Yeah, okay, no one else. They're saying is an attitude. But there are players available. It's not like players aren't available. The board can't use that excuse anymore. Cess, thoughts on that?
Can you repeat the question again? For some reason, what was the question?
I think we really lost you there. What's your thoughts on like Dembele players that are available, that we know that are available, that the board might turn around and say there's no one else available out there? You know, when you've got the quality of this guy coming in, Hugo, but then you've got potential players like Dembele sitting in the wings who's looking for a potential transfer. I mean, we've talked about all the transfer targets in the past, you know. What are your thoughts on that? Can you hear me, Sis?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. It's got the point where you just lost the words now. You just don't know. I just don't know anymore, because there were players out there. There were players available for us. There were.
He's got a potato for a modem.
Yeah. The only bit I picked up then was lost for words, and I think that probably sums it up.
Have you guys just seen this? Dave Sullivan Jr. has like this tweet on Twitter.
Oh, no, please don't.
Just don't even say it.
The tweet reads as follows: 22 years, I've had a season ticket, and these pricks have destroyed everything. I loved everything about this club, from the stadium badge, not bringing in players and talking shit about players. Please fuck off from our club. When you leave, I can go back to watching my team again. Dave Sullivan Jr. liked that tweet.
He liked the tweet.
He liked it. I don't, whether he liked it ironically or he genuinely agreed with it, we don't know. But it's just another
but
nice
you must think to yourself, he knows people, they know.
Typical West Ham.
Yeah. They know that the world has got access to that information. They know that we can see what likes they're doing. It's just naivety. It's immaturity. It's immaturity from the top to the bottom. Do you know what? Jim White was on TalkSport the other day, and he kept mentioning age, and it really frustrated the living daylights out of me. He cannot keep saying 80-year-old man.
You need to respect them and all that bollocks.
Yeah. Well, again, there's part of it. What he's saying is right. You can't expect that. But at the end of the day, he literally took one piece of information from one person and never listened to the other side.
He used it against every fan.
Yeah, and never used it on, and never listened to any fan's opinion on that.
No, especially the lads that were there. It was pretty poor, I thought.
I've sent him quite a few messages over the months, just saying what a poor excuse of a journalist he is anyway. So and a broadcaster. So he's I think he knows my feelings quite well.
Yeah, it's I don't know. The whole thing's just really frustrating at the end of the day. I mean, we're sitting 7 minutes past 11, deadline day, 4 points from safety.
Yeah.
not even. I mean, I looked at the stats that the teams were playing coming up. We've got Brighton at the weekend. Where are we? Watford at home. Liverpool away. Swansea away. Step up, Andre Ayew. You know what I mean? It's just written in the stars. All this stuff. Then we've got Burnley at home in form. Manchester United. Sanchez is going to get used to the team. He's got 5 games to play in. Like, I do see a lot of comments kicking about of people saying we're not going to go down, but I don't want us. I don't wish us, and I'm going to have the faith in us to stay up. But I do. I'm so fearful. What is going? Here we go. Stell, what's going to happen if we do go down?
Well, if we go down, we're going to lose all the half decent players we've got, and we're going to languish in the Championship for a good 2 or 3 seasons because there's no way we're coming straight back up. I can't see it. I don't think we're going to be lucky enough to do it. Moyes will probably go, I don't want this. I don't want to manage a team in the Championship. So we'll probably lose him as a manager. And there'll be all the hope that we have of making this club a better club because of the move, etc. will just be gone. It'll be a half-empty stadium. But we'll love the away days.
Be called the Sky Bet Championship Stadium.
Yeah. You know, it'll be a total and utter disaster. That's what it will be, and we know it. We all know it because there's no way, because of the way the board have handled things. I can't see them. If we go down, I can't see them handling things any better in the Championship. We were lucky with Allardyce. We got back straight away. You know, not many teams can do that, and I'd be surprised if anyone thinks that we can. You know, we'll languish down there for a good couple of seasons, I reckon.
But on the flip side, we get Millwall away. So you know, every cloud.
Couple of comments and maybe yeah.
Picking up on your last point about, you know, there are players out there, but we haven't gone for them. You know, I reckon Moyes probably did give the board a list of players he wanted, and maybe you know, some of those players that you mentioned weren't on that list, and which is probably why we didn't go for them.
Yeah, which is fair. Although X's tweet this morning said that there were bids in for 10 people.
Yeah, I'd like to see.
And I think he also included in that tweet that he said 2 should be getting over the line, or at least 1. And I think one of them was Slimani before Newcastle come in. Oh.
Did you see the thing about what Palace apparently did with the margin?
Yeah, I've just seen that.
Apparently prolonged the negotiations so we couldn't go in for him as a payback for getting Hugill. For fuck's sake!
I'd have swapped Hugill for him.
Well, that's the player that Tony Henry was talking about in relation to African players. Apparently,
I'm going to give a massive shout out just now to a Twitter account called West Ham Photos, WHUFC Photos. This is the following thread, and they've just written this up. West Ham's January transfer window. I do not know whether to laugh or cry. West Ham reject a £10 million plus add-ons bid for Diafra Sakho, then go on and accept an £8 million bid days later. After leaving, Sakho brands West Ham's owners as liars and says he will be giving an interview so the fans can find out the truth. Then Diafra Sakho goes on and scores against PSG in his Rennes debut, despite David Gold claiming he has got a serious injury. Our injury list grows further, with Marco Arnautovic and Manuel Lanzini, amongst others, picking up injuries, leaving the squad paper thin and in desperate need of reinforcements. Finally, some good news, Mario. Signs, however, it's another loan, so we'll probably never see him again come May. David Sullivan and David Gold are involved in a scuffle with fans after an embarrassing 2-0 cup defeat. Sullivan describes Shelvey as useless. Despite Smolov's club basically begging West Ham to sign their striker and Russia captain Smolov, along with player wanting the move, we failed to meet the valuation of £13 million, refusing to offer any more than £10 million. He has 48 goals in 64 games for the club. After showing interest in Leicester's Slimani, the club managed to cock the move up after having an argument with Leicester owners. We then sell statistically our best performing attacker this season, or relegation rival Swansea. This leaves us with Andy Carroll, who can't breathe without injuring himself, and Hernandez as our first team attacking options. After being highly interested in highly rated prospect in Donker all transfer window, the player wanting the move and haggling over £4 million, we failed to sign the player because the club couldn't get a medical done in time, despite the fact you could complete a medical after signing a player.
It's John, especially that last bit about Dodonka, arguing over £4 million for a defensive midfielder who's well respected, an international, plays Champions League because we couldn't get a medical done in time. It's almost like Sullivan and Gold have only got 4 or 5 excuses, and it's like, oh shit, pull that one out again.
Yeah.
It's the same fucking story as the summer.
Yeah.
You know, they've not learnt from their mistakes. They seem to think they are cleverer than every other board of every other club. Oh, they want 14,
that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the fucking hell he thinks he's doing. Does he think, somebody said the other day, is he playing Championship Manager? I think he thinks he is. It's an absolute fucking disgrace. I'm sorry, boys, but it's just shit.
It's what
useless excuses. They're too fucking tight to spend any money. You know, we've had an opportunity to push on for the last couple of years. I think Alf mentioned it earlier. We could have done that. We should have invested a couple of years ago, just as we left Upton Park. We should have invested then. We didn't. Okay, we thought we had a good enough team, so we bought squad players like Faguli and Nordout. We then shipped them out by 1 or 2 key players in the summer, but have left our squad thin.
Yeah.
And thin in areas that were already weak. I mean, we were weak in the centre of midfield last year. Our defence was exposed time and time again. So we've now had 2 years of watching every team we play against running at our defence.
Yeah.
You know, it's just fucking awful. And the excuses and the shite they give us, and the fact that they just, like I said, they seem to think they're far more intelligent. If a player's valued at £14 million, you know, fair enough, yeah, there's always room for negotiation. But if he's worth 14 million quid, don't offer 8. You know, if a player has a value, you've got to come somewhere in that value. Because I'm willing to bet that if we wanted to, you know, we wanted 20 million for you, they wouldn't even accept 18 million. So how does it work both ways? You know?
Yeah, but I don't understand how a bid can come in for Sacco for 10 million. We say no, a few other clubs come in, and then 8 million. Yeah, go on then, take him now. What's the point? I don't understand.
Well, unless that 10 million wasn't a proper offer, you know, and they're saying it was. Yeah, I think what's the problem is a few of us have said it before. We need a proper director of football. We need Sullivan to stay away from the transfer dealings because he thinks he knows about football, and it's evident that he knows absolutely zero about it. And he goes in. He thinks he's clever. You know, you said it, Marcus. He thinks he's clever. He goes in with all these deals that he thinks are going to, you know, he thinks people are going to swan all over him. Oh, you're offering me this? I'll bite your hand off, mate. That's exactly what he thinks.
It seems like he chucks a load of players at the manager and says, go on, sort me a team out from that. And they don't adapt to the manager. And then these problems happen with them falling out, you know, and it starts from Sullivan. So
what I will say in Sullivan's defence is I don't understand why these players don't want to come to us. I mean, don't they know we've got the largest screen in Europe?
Second largest.
Is it second? Oh, of course, yeah.
It's not even the first. What's going on?
Yeah, well, that's why they want to go to Bayern Munich for that reason only.
Yeah.
The thing is, you know, I'd like to ask you boys, actually, what do you think for the rest of the season now then? We obviously haven't signed anybody. How's Moyes going to cope with these players, and what are we going to do for the rest of the season?
Alf, I'll come in just quickly on this because I want to make a point of saying that we can't take away any of this negative chat from what Moyes has currently done for our...
No, I agree.
He has worked wonders, and Marcus, and I get it because he's not our first choice, and I don't believe he's probably anyone's first choice out here.
It's not as much that I'm not convinced he's worked wonders, but
what I mean by this is we were spiraling out of control at that point.
He steadied the ship. You can't deny that.
And right now that's what we need. Now the worrying thing is it's steadying the ship to the point where we're still going to get relegated. I feel that we can't judge him yet. I'm not going to judge him yet because I can't. He's done all right. I want us to be safe.
What I'll say in his defence is that one of my criticisms of the way he set the teams up is we either seem to be ultra defensive against the big teams and trying to hit them on the break, but when we have to take the game to someone, we don't seem to be able to. We don't seem to have that right balance between defence.
We did exactly that yesterday. We sat back against Palace second half when we shouldn't.
Yeah, and that seems to be his go-to. Now, part of that is probably because he doesn't have the right players. So, you know, I'm prepared to cut him some slack for that. He's identified a few areas. He's not been backed.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
Dan,
if we're talking about...
Dan, sorry.
Yeah.
That's right. No, I was going to say, if we're talking about team setup, I think the way that we were on Tuesday night, I think I can see us doing that more often with Zabaleta in midfield. I've got a feeling that with Byram back, Byram will be our wing back, and we will use Zabaleta as a central holding midfielder as well.
I agree, and that's because he has no choice. You know, he hasn't got anybody else. And let's pay credit to Zabaleta. He did all right in that.
Oh, he did well. Yeah. He knows. He's an experienced footballer.
Moyes wasn't my first choice, and I was a big Bilic fan, and disappointed that he messed up the way he did. But you got to give Moyes some credit. You're right, Marcus. He has steadied the ship. But he is gonna, I know I'm sticking my neck out, but he will keep us in this league. We'll get there. We'll just scratch in. I know we will. We might, finish like a point or two just above the relegation zone, but we'll stay there.
So you say that, but this half of the season, there's been teams that have been worse than us, but they've improved over January, which it comes back to we are the team that haven't. So it's going to play out, isn't it? I mean, even Swansea, I really have to give credit to Swansea's manager for what he's done, because he's turned them right around, and they were a write-off.
He's done well.
Did you listen to Swansea's owner came on earlier on and he was discussing the whole process, and he said that the two players we're bringing in are exactly what the manager wanted, because he wanted to strengthen in two positions. So we went out and got the deals done. That's the quote he said. The manager wanted to strengthen in two positions and we got the deals done, and we broke our transfer record for a player we previously owned. And then they asked him the question about Key, and he said he was never going.
Yeah, that's ambition for you. Like you say.
Yeah. No messing about. That's what you want. No hesitation. No messing about. What do we need? Go get the job done.
That's not even ambition. That's basic communication between the board and the manager.
Yeah.
Dan, what's your thoughts on? I mean, listen, it's 11:20. Other news coming in is saying that Sky Sports are saying that they expect 4 deals to get completed from the Premier League before 1 a.m. So we're not staying on here to 1 a.m. We'll probably stay on for another 5 minutes. But Dan, just throw this over to you. What is your opinion and how do you rate Moyes going forward?
You know what? I think he's done a decent job. I'm not thrilled with how he went about the cup, especially the League Cup where we threw it away against Arsenal. But fantastic job in the league, like picking up points. We're unbeaten in, what is it, like 8 games or something now? Something like that.
10 now.
10 now, is it? Yeah, so unbeaten in 10 games. And with what he's got to work with and who he's working under, that's impressive. So I would like to see what he could do when he is backed, but we know who the owners are. So, I'd say decent account of himself in the league so far. I'm very intrigued to see what he does for the rest of the season. Now with these injuries, we've got all these key games coming up now. If we can pull out a bloody win, and we haven't really got the attacking players, so we'll see what's what. But yeah, I'm gonna head off now, lads, and go live on my channel now.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Good luck with that.
Dan, thanks for coming on, mate. And we'll speak soon. And fingers crossed.
Thanks for having me again, mate.
Yeah,
see you lads later.
Cheers for that. Cool, guys. So listen, may as well round off this chat. It's been an interesting night. Well, not really, but
it's been a disappointing night. But did we really expect anything else?
No,
probably not. So
looks like we're going to get this boy Hugo anyway. So
we haven't even announced him, mate.
Well, X has come on. To be fair, X has come on and said he's seen physical pictures of the deal. So he must have got pictures of him in the top. So it's probably happening. It's probably one of those deals that's taken so long. Again, I don't understand why. Why are we taking so long for a player of that standard in that league to get the deal across the line?
Right, exactly.
I mean, we've known about it since what, 8 o'clock, 7:30. It's now 11:30. It's 5 hours long. It's a joke, really.
He's asked for £2,000 a week, and we're haggling over 50 quid. I think. What it is.
Yeah, and a packet of dollars.
And he's gonna be a success because he's wearing Carlton's Cole number 12 shirt. So
I would have took Carlton Cole back at this rate. I would have been happy to see breaking news. Carlton Cole's back on a blinking fixed term contract. To be honest with you,
Luke, be careful. Be careful when you go on Twitter, mate. The first thing I've seen, just open it up now, is Andre Ayew in his Swansea kit. So,
okay. I won't be looking at that.
Yeah, avoid it.
I'm off to bed. Don't go to bed, but I am. Don't worry.
Right. I'm out of here anyway.
Yeah, no worries. Right. Cheers, gents. It's been nice chatting to you.
So who's
not better circumstances?
Who's staying on with me so we can close off this show?
I'll be staying.
Yeah, I'll stay on for a bit.
Right, cool.
It
So
would seem I'm staying, but mainly because I don't know how to hang up.
That's what I'm trying to do. I can't hang up. How?
I'll eject. There you go. See you later, Marcus. Alf, are you off skate as well, mate? Oh, Alf's gone. Just for your reference, before we close off the show, Alf, he does a show for us, a kind of weekly show called Alf's Rhubarb Grumble. He gets all his points across, so make sure he's all subscribed to our channel and watch his stuff. But listen,
and the matchday vlogs, don't forget them.
Yeah, obviously we've got Jack is back in there. He does the matchday vlogs for us. Really good stuff. Get on it. We're trying to kind of boost up all our kind of new stuff that's coming on the show. So make sure you get on it. Jack's also got his own channel, Jack in the Vlogs. Is that what it is?
That's it.
So just get subscribing to his channel as well. Some great content if you want to find out what he's got for Christmas. I'm only joking, man.
A new player.
Yeah, exactly. But listen, guys, it's been disappointing. We can't deny it, but we are all West Ham fans. We're all going to get behind.
Oh wait, there's breaking news from the stadium. One sec. Tony Henry, elite email to football agent. Oh fuck's sake!
What?
He's talking about players of African descent.
Yeah, the African thing.
He says, we don't want any more Africans, and he's not good enough. The reply to that is, he's asked if there's a club policy regarding African players. He initially replies no, then replies yeah, because we had 3, and we felt we didn't particularly want any more African players. He's pressed that again. He's asked why. No reason. It's nothing racist at all. It's just sometimes they can have a bad attitude. We had problems with Diafra Sacco. We find that when they're not in the team, they cause mayhem. And
African players cause mayhem.
We can hear it, mate. We can hear it.
Yeah,
we can hear it.
The African race at all. I mean, look, there are top African players. There's no problem with them. It's just sometimes they can cause a lot of problems. We had problems with Diafra. He's left so great. It's nothing personal at all. He's then asked if he thinks it's discriminatory, and he explains we've got no problems with Cheku Kouyaté. He's a top lad. He talks about Russians and Italians having trouble integrating into the Premier League as well. West Ham have responded to this story in the Daily Mail, and this is what they've had to say. Excuse me whilst I just get out my phone for me. They've said West Ham United is an inclusive, respectful and diverse football club.
Oh my God.
At the heart of our ethos and VAT. We've worked extremely hard over the last 18 months. All West Ham United employees are required to go into quality, diversity and unconscious bias training as part of our new mandatory training and workforce plan. We take any allegations of discrimination extremely seriously and are now in the process of ascertaining the full facts behind this accusation. This is a story that we have not heard the last of. This will rumble on and on. Tony Henry, West Ham Director of Transfer.
Oh my God, I give up.
He needs to be fucking sacked.
Always in the news for all the wrong reasons.
As well. Jordan Hugill, the press.
See, on that, can you remember, just quickly before we go, remember the whole story about William Carvalho and whatever it was, and we were going to take them to court, and then we had to end up apologising. I just feel like we open our mouths too many times. We just don't know what's going on. But West Ham, the gift that keeps on giving, and it's just wow.
I just have no words for it. I have no energy whatsoever to even talk about this club anymore.
Unbelievable.
Any last points anyone wants to make before we go?
Alex,
Alexander free. I tell you what, Jack, I'll take that. I'm not going to lie. I'll take
him.
Yeah.
I'll take it as well. Stephen Corker's on a free as well. If we need a defender.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that. You know, there are 1 or 2 players we can get who are free agents.
Loanies as well. We can get loans in, I think.
Lassana Diarra. Did he actually end up at PSG?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
He was a free agent as well.
That's mad.
Well, listen, it looks like we're going into the free agent market, and even at that, we probably will fail to sign any of our players. So,
can't call. Watch it happen.
Yeah. Still, any last points you want to make, mate?
Not really, mate. I think what we just had on Sky about Tony Henry has really wrapped the night up, hasn't it? Really.
Yeah.
That's our club through and through. We have become, you know. Do you remember? I was at the stadium the last night of the Bow Lane when Noble said we're no longer a club run like a circus.
Run like a circus.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh dear, what a mistake
We
we
must be
made,
fucking
because
blind.
we are a bigger circus now than we were
Than ever.
that night. You know,
Mhm.
what a shame. It's embarrassing. You know, we're laughed at. We are laughed at. You know, despite the fact that we haven't actually signed anyone of worth. You know, people look at us and go, we've got a new stadium. It's not even a football stadium, and you're talking about Champions League, etc., etc. We are a laughing stock, and for this to happen tonight.
The fact it's been a boring day for us in the transfer window, and you still got stories like this coming out, just says it all about our club, really, doesn't it?
Says it all. Yeah.
We're signing I want to bring this one up as well. We're signing this player, unheard of in the Championship. We're literally unheard of in the Championship. And we've got a player who's firing on all cylinders in the Championship who really wasn't given his proper chance, Robert Snodgrass. And we've already failed in trying to bring cancel his loan and bring him back to the club. So yeah, to be honest, it's toxic from top to bottom. I've said it for a long time. I can't change my opinion. And yeah, it's tough going. It's the roller coaster, and right now it's broken and it's not fun. It's absolutely not fun. So before we go, just make sure you subscribe to our channel. Make sure you subscribe to Jack's channel. Make sure you watch his matchday vlogs. One was put on today. I think there's like 3 videos being put on our channel today. Yeah. We're just trying to bring you all loads of new content. Any questions, any problems you've got, let us know. If you want on, let us know. We're all about West Ham fans' opinions. The guys down there will explain. We've got a chat and everyone's got different opinions on everything. So that's the whole point of this. We are West Ham fans, but at the end of the day, we get together and we are united, hence the Irons United. Again, any of you looking for tickets, get involved with Stel on his page on Facebook. And yeah, next week we've got some interesting stuff coming to you. Andy Swallow from the Real West Ham Fans Action Group's coming on. So we'll do an interview with him. I think it'll be myself and Stel. We'll be doing that interview with him.
Yeah, I'll be there.
And yeah, we'll have some more stuff, previews, reviews, etc. So yeah, get on our shows. Thanks very much for joining us tonight, West Ham fans. Unfortunately, we never brought you any great news. If anything, we have dampened your mood and given you a terrible night's sleep and going to add to your nightmares you're going to have for the rest of the night. But you know what? You don't have to thank us for that. You can thank the club we all love, West Ham United. So thanks for tuning in.